Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to peek behind the curtain at a critical, yet, often invisible force that really decides whether a business is going to thrive or totally fail. We are talking about inventory management, the secret superpower behind pretty much every single product you buy.
I mean, we've all been there, right? It's so frustrating. You go to the store and the one thing you actually need is just gone. Well, that empty shelf isn't just a bit of bad luck. It's usually a sign that a really complex system has broken down somewhere. And that entire system? It's all about inventory.
You see, every single business is basically walking a tightrope. On one side, if you have way too much stock, you're just burning cash on storage and your products can expire or go out of style. But on the other side, if you have too little stock, well, that means lost sales, unhappy customers, and it can even bring your entire production line to a grinding halt. So the million-dollar question is, how do you find that perfect balance?
And that's exactly where inventory management comes in. This is not just about counting boxes in a warehouse, okay? It's the strategic art and science of knowing what you have, where it is, and how much you're going to need in the future. It's all about making sure you never have too much or too little. It's the professional solution to that high-stakes balancing act.
And listen, when you get it right, the benefits are just huge. It means happier customers who can always find what they're looking for. It dramatically cuts costs all across the supply chain. And it even lets you make smarter, more economical decisions in how you produce and buy things. Basically, it just makes the entire business run smoother and, of course, way more profitable.
Okay, so how do you even start to manage all this stuff? I mean, if a company sells thousands of different items, how in the world does it know where to focus its energy? Well, the first tool in our kit is all about prioritizing, and it's called ABC analysis. So, at the heart of ABC analysis is this really powerful idea you've probably heard of before, the Pareto principle. You might know it as the 80-20 rule, and it basically suggests that in almost any system, a small handful of things, like 20% of the causes, are responsible for the vast majority of the results, around 80%. This slide right here visualizes it perfectly for inventory. See that really steep curve for Group A? That shows that a tiny fraction of your total items are generating the lion's share of your sales. These are your superstars. Then you've got your B items, kind of in the middle, and then this long tail of C items that make up most of your products but honestly contribute very little to the bottom line.
And here are the numbers behind that curve. Just look at this breakdown. Class A items, they're just 20% of your product types, but they account for a whopping 80% of your sales volume. Meanwhile, Class C items make up half of all your products, but they only bring in 5% of sales. Right away, this tells you exactly where you need to focus your attention.
So, by using this method, a business can do what's called control by exception. It means you give your Class A items super tight, rigorous control and forecasting. You obsess over them. Then you can be a little more relaxed with the B items and, pretty loose with the C items. This means way fewer stockouts of your most important products and a much more efficient use of your time and money.
Okay, so ABC analysis tells you what to focus on. But that just leads to the next big question, right? When you need to reorder one of those crucial A items, what's the perfect amount to buy at one time? This is where we find the magic number. And that magic number is called the economic order quantity, or EOQ for short. It's a formula that's designed to find the absolute sweet spot for your order size, the exact quantity that minimizes your total inventory costs for the entire year. Now, this graph shows the two competing costs that are always kind of fighting each other. On one hand, you've got the ordering cost. See how that line slopes down? That's because the bigger your orders are, the less often you have to place them, which saves you money. But then you have the holding cost. That's the cost to store all that inventory, and that line climbs higher and higher the more you buy at once. The EOQ is that perfect sweet spot, right at the very bottom of the total cost curve, where these two opposing forces find their absolute cheapest balance. So it all comes down to this trade-off. Small, frequent orders mean high ordering costs, but low storage costs. Large, infrequent orders mean the exact opposite. Now, the classic EOQ formula is brilliant for finding that mathematically perfect order size, but only in a perfect world. It assumes things like demand is always constant, and costs never change, which, as we know, reality rarely provides. So while it gives you an incredibly valuable starting point, smart managers use it as a powerful guide, not some unbreakable rule.
And that little reality check on the EOQ model perfectly sets up our next point. Because inventory management isn't about finding one single magic bullet. It's about having a whole toolkit of specialized solutions. So let's look at a few more techniques that businesses use to handle specific, real-world challenges.
First up is VEED analysis, which is absolutely crucial for any business that relies on machinery. So instead of classifying parts by their cost, like we did in ABC analysis, this method classifies them by how critical they are. Is a part vital, meaning the entire production line grinds to a halt without it? Is it essential, where not having it would cause a huge slowdown? Or is it just desirable? This makes sure you're never caught without that one tiny, inexpensive part that could end up costing you thousands in downtime.
Next, we have minimum safety stock. You can think of this as your just-in-case buffer. It's basically an insurance policy against an unpredictable world. What happens if a supplier is late? Or what if a product suddenly goes viral on TikTok and demand skyrockets? That extra quantity of stock is what protects you from a stockout, keeping customers happy and sales flowing even when the unexpected happens.
And finally, let's talk about one of the most elegantly simple methods ever created, the two-bin system. For managing all those small, inexpensive but frequently used items like, screws or bolts on an assembly line, you don't need some complex computer system. All you need is a beautifully straightforward visual cue that tells you when it's time to reorder.
And here's exactly how that visual cue works. You have two identical bins, both filled with the same part. The people on the factory floor pull from the front bin until it's totally empty. That empty bin is the signal. It's immediately sent back to be refilled, and while it's gone, workers just start using the second bin. Now the key is that the second bin contains just enough stock to last exactly until the first one comes back, full. It's a continuous, self-regulating loop. No spreadsheets, no scanners, just simple, foolproof physics.
So what might look like just a simple stack of boxes in a warehouse is actually a dynamic, strategic system that's in constant motion. And understanding these principles gives you a new lens, really a way to see the invisible forces of commerce that dictate why some businesses win and others fail.
So let's do a quick recap of what we've covered. At its core, remember, inventory management is a strategic balancing act. ABC analysis is your tool for prioritizing, for focusing your efforts on that 20% of items that deliver 80% of the value. EOQ is the formula that helps you find that magic number for the most cost-effective order size. And of course, there's a whole kit of other specialized tools for every kind of inventory challenge out there.
So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you walk into a store and see that dreaded empty shelf where your favorite snack is supposed to be, you'll know it's not just bad luck. Now you can actually ask yourself, was it a forecasting error? Did they miscalculate their safety stock? Or maybe, just maybe, they needed to pay a little more attention to their Class A items. Thanks for watching.